We're selling this Jeep Liberty for $3,000. This Camry's $4,000. This Mazda 3 is $4,000. And this Ford Escape for $3,500. And no, I'm not showing you all these cheap cars that are on my car lot because I'm trying to sell you something. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you where my dealership is, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But before we get into it, please subscribe if you haven't to this channel, like this video. It really helps me out. So these cars that I sell on my car lot, these $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 cars, these are not the typical cars that the average American buys.
All right, so now let's talk about what the average buyer actually does. They go and they buy a brand new car. The average monthly payment right now for a new vehicle is $725. Most financial advisors would tell you that you're only supposed to spend 10% of your take-home pay each month on a car payment. So that means that you actually have to make $7,250 per month after taxes before you can afford the average new car right now. And that's after taxes. So pre-tax, you would need to make somewhere around $10,000 a month, meaning that you cannot afford the average new car right now unless you make $120,000 a year. And guess what? The news gets even worse if you want to buy a truck. So the #1 selling truck right now in America is the F-150. And the average monthly payment on a new F-150 right now is $1,000. And that's just the average. That's not the platinum. That's not the upper level trims. This is the average level F-150. You're going to be paying $1,000 a month if you want in that truck. So using those same guidelines, if you want to actually be able to afford that F-150, you're going to have to make at least $156,000 a year. So here's what I know. I know the average American does not make $120,000 a year. So this means that the average American cannot afford to buy the average new car. The car market is absolutely in a bubble, and these numbers should scream it at you. But you know what? You don't have to be average. You can actually buy a car, not go into debt, and not have a car payment.
And I'm showing you proof of it right here. You can save $3,500 and you can actually own a car and not have a car payment on it. And I'm a car dealer, so I'm making money on these cars. So you can actually buy from the individual. In fact, that's what I would recommend that you do. Don't buy a car from a used car dealer. Don't buy a car from me. I would rather you go on Facebook Marketplace, offer up whatever online medium that you would want to use, and find an individual that's actually selling a car for a reasonable price. Pay them cash for it, don't have debt, have a good car that you can actually afford. Before you buy any used vehicle, I think it's very important that you run a vehicle history report on it. That's why I'm happy to introduce today's sponsor, Car Vertical. Car Vertical offers reports that can tell you if a vehicle has been damaged. This is very important because cars that have been in a major accident can actually be very dangerous to drive if something like the frame is actually bent. A Car Vertical report can also let you know if a vehicle has actually been stolen before. A vehicle that has a theft brand on it is actually worth way less than a vehicle with a clean title. And my favorite thing about a Car Vertical report is they actually show you a nice chart of the history of the mileage on the vehicle, so you can see if the car has had any kind of odometer rollbacks or any kind of tampering with the odometer. This is really important because you need to know exactly how many miles your vehicle has when you're going to purchase it. So click on the link down in the description below and use code CQA to get a discount off your Car Vertical report. So I'm out here walking on my car dealership in this video just to show you that there is another way. You don't have to be the average American that takes on this $700, $800, $1,000 car payment. You can actually pay cash for a vehicle and not go into debt for your ride. And yes, good cars for $2,000, $3,000, they do exist. They're hard to find, but you have to put in the work and you can find one. Make small sacrifices now and you'll set yourself up for a much better financial future. And even if you can only afford a $3,000 car right now, you don't have to drive it forever. You can put money back until you can actually upgrade to your next car. You don't have to drive cheap cars for the rest of your life. In fact, you will be more set up to buy a more expensive car, a much nicer car, if you don't have car payments. And the way that you're not going to have car payments is by making the right choices right now, by buying a car, buying a $3,000 car, buying a $3,500 car, so you can actually put money back, so you can invest in yourself and in your future. And in that way, you can actually afford to pay cash for something much, much nicer later on.
So one thing that I will say when you're looking for this affordable car that you can pay cash for is that it's going to be much easier for you to find a car that kind of fits this bill from an individual as opposed to a dealer. There really aren't that many dealers out there that sell cars for like $5,000 and under like I do. So it's going to be much easier for you to find a car like this from an individual. So just a couple real quick tips to help you be safe when you're actually looking for this vehicle. Number one is know what paperwork you actually have to get this car transferred to get it registered in your state. Every state's going to be different as far as what they need. I'm in North Carolina, and for you to transfer a title in North Carolina, you have to have the signatures notarized. Not all states are like that, but each state's going to have its own kind of laws, regulations. Just make sure you know exactly what you need to do to be able to transfer the car from the individual to yourself. All right, and the next thing is the most important thing that I can tell you about purchasing a car. I don't care if you're buying a car from an individual, a used car dealer, your mama, does not matter. Make sure you get this vehicle checked out by your mechanic before you purchase it. You can buy a paperweight, you can buy a turd really quick. Make sure you get this car checked out. Have the mechanic drive it like they were going to buy it for themselves. Get them to put it up on a lift so you know exactly what you're getting into before you actually purchase this car.
A car payment is the number one thing that's going to keep you poor. You never want to finance an asset that's actually going down in value. And you know what? I don't even want to use the word asset because a car is not an asset, it's a liability. So when you do finance this liability, what's happening is you're getting hit twice. So you're going to get hit by the depreciation that the car is just naturally going to take on, but also you're getting hit by the interest that you have to pay on the loan for you financing this vehicle.
What I can tell you is if you can avoid car payments right now, you will be setting yourself up for a much more successful financial future. All right, so why do I not give out the location of my dealership? And I know I've said this quite a few times on my channel, but we have some new viewers. So just to get everybody on board, I started this channel to help people with buying cars, help people make decisions on fixing their cars. And now it's also morphed into a car market channel, behind the scenes channel for the car market. You see a lot of inside scoops at these auctions. I talk to a lot of people that are in the car market. So that's really what this channel is designed to do. But ultimately, what I want to do is I want to help you make better decisions when you're purchasing vehicles, when you're repairing vehicles, and really just navigating the car market in general. And I feel like if I'm putting my business out there, then the message that's going to come across is that I'm literally just trying to sell you the cars that I have available on my lot. And that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to give you good, honest advice that you can trust. And I don't feel like you can trust me if you feel like I'm a used car dealer on YouTube trying to sell you my cars. So I'm very excited to announce that we have started a new channel. It's called CQA Live. On this channel, I'm going to be having interviews with lots of car market insiders. I've already got one on there now talking to some auction owners. We're going to be doing live streams to answer your questions. So I'll put a link down in the description below. Make sure you go check it out. Go subscribe. It would really, really help me out.
There's another way. Loud truck. Let's just start that over.
Of your take-home pay on a monthly car payment. And what I can tell you is that And what I can tell you is if I can't talk right now. And what I can tell you is if you can, for a much more successful financial future. There we go. That works.